Okay, sir, can you tell me how did it all start? The idea to make missiles came up once we tested nuclear weapons for the first time. Long time ago, somewhere 1975, right? Yeah. It was in 1970s. We successfully conducted a nuclear test. We showed the world that India has the capability to make nuclear bombs. But we did not have a system to deliver those bombs to the target. Having a nuclear bomb and not being able to deliver it to its target is as useless as owning a BMW and not having the fuel to drive them. Right? So to deliver the nuclear bomb, we needed a medium, and missiles were the best medium. But we didn't have the technical expertise to make one. So we decided to learn one by reverse engineering a Soviet missile. Why Soviet? Because they were the one favorable to us at that time. We launched Project Devil and Project Valiant to make one long-range ballistic missile that was capable to deliver a nuclear bomb. What range? 8,000 kilometers. Oh my god, the first attempt itself, too ambitious. It did prove to be very over-ambitious because we failed to create one. Expectedly. But our engineers gained great knowledge and experience in making missiles. So then, in 1984, under Dr. Abdul Kalam's leadership, we launched IGMDP, Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, a comprehensive program to make indigenous missiles. And from there, it all began. 41 years later now, we stand as a missile superpower, keeping India protected. I'm curious to know how our missiles keep us protected. Okay, let's start. The thing is, the Indian defense program keeps upgrading with itself in time. Why? To stay one step ahead in their main aim to keep us safe and protected from any kind of external threats. Similarly, to stay one step ahead than the rest of our peers in our respective careers, we need to be updated, possessing the relevant skills necessary for the industry. Just like how missiles were considered the future of modern warfare, AI is considered the future of the modern technology. And learning about AI for your career advancements will keep you ahead in the race. In fact, according to PwC, AI is expected to contribute up to $15.7 trillion to the global economy by 2030. That's more than the current combined GDP of Germany and Japan. So it's not just hype. This is a massive long-term trend that I believe is still in its early innings. And that's why I'm positioning my portfolio accordingly. Not just portfolio, but I'm also making my team attend an AI training program which is going to happen this weekend. As you guys are my valuable audience, I'm excited to invite you all as well to this completely free 2-day AI training program valued at 10,000 rupees. But completely free for you all. Thanks to our incredible partner Outskill. This is not just any training, it's the world's first AI-focused education platform, backed by top AI investors and pioneers. The program spans 16 hours of live training across Saturday and Sunday from 11 AM to 7 PM. This training is highly valued and we're giving it to you for free. Link is in the description. Here's what you'll master. 20 plus AI tools to add to your toolkit. Prompt engineering for fantastic results. Data analysis without the need for coding. Creating professional presentations using AI and Excel. Building tools and applications with AI, no coding required. AI generated images and videos that will blow your mind. Developing powerful AI agents. Automating tasks for maximum efficiency. This program is for everyone. Whether you're in tech, sales, marketing, HR, operations, or even running your own business. Professionals from over 120 countries have already joined and have loved it. Spots are filling up fast, so don't miss out. Click the link in the description to book your spot now. Be sure to join their WhatsApp groups for all the latest updates. And remember, there's an introduction call this Friday at 7 PM. Let's get ready to level up your career. We have two hostile states in our neighborhood, right? Yes, Pakistan and China. Yeah, exactly. We needed a specific set of missiles for Pakistan and a specific set of missiles for China. We tried to do a long range of 8,000 kilometers in the first step itself and failed miserably. So what we did? We started off with a short range of 150 kilometers. And what was the primary purpose of a missile? To carry and deliver a nuclear warhead. We needed a missile that flies in a parabolic trajectory. And so we made Prithvi 1, specifically made to target Pakistan. After developing, it was given to the Indian Army. Only for the Army. Correct? Why only for the Army? What galti did the Air Force do? And so only, Prithvi 2 with a bigger range of 350 kilometers was made and given to the Air Force. Then for Navy, who can ignore them? Correct? They operate on the waters. They need to fire from long distances, right? So we gave them Prithvi 3 with an even bigger range of 550 kilometers and an even bigger capacity to carry payloads, each one for our forces. Yes, sub barabar. That is okay for easy opponent Pakistan. But what about China? Right? It's actually China that's a long-term adversary. Pakistan is just a small irritant. It's China that plays this game with Pakistan as its proxy. We needed something bigger for China. Yes, and here comes the Agni family. We started off by testing our capabilities, and we were convinced that we have immense capabilities to make an intercontinental ballistic missile. First, we started with a short range of 900 kilometers, Agni 1. But this is not even enough to cover half of Tibet. To be labeled intercontinental ballistic missile, it should be at least 3,500 kilometers. So what did you do then with it? Yet again, we dedicated another missile for Pakistan. After that, we jumped from short range to medium range of 2,000 kilometers with Agni 2, coming with improved accuracy. Gradually, it was getting intercontinental and slowly starting to cover China. And then another jump from medium to intermediate range of 3,000 to 5,000 kilometers. And this time, the missile having a payload capacity of 1.5 tons, hence making Agni 3 a nuclear capable missile and also becoming a truly intercontinental ballistic missile. We now had a nuclear capable missile, but that needs to strike the targets accurately, right? Precision is very important. So we developed Agni 4 with the same range with advanced guidance systems. But the thing is, to strike multiple locations, we need to send multiple missiles, right? A very costly affair. Why can't we have a single missile striking at multiple locations? Huh? How is that even possible? Absolutely possible with something called as multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle technology, the MIRV technology. It can target multiple places with multiple warheads with just a single missile. And India became the 6th country to successfully test fire MIRV capabilities with our Agni 5 having a range of up to 8,000 kilometers. The same test Pakistan failed. With Agni 5, we cover China entirely. But we are greedy with respect to the range. Because our enemies are greedy as well, right? So only Agni 6 with even a range beyond 8,000 kilometers is under development. I think you must be familiar that we have a no first use policy with respect to nuclear weapons. Oh, which means we will not be the first one to use nuclear weapons in a conflict. We will only use when it's used against us first. But Pakistan is a rogue state, an irresponsible country. They rejected no first use policy. And just imagine, in a hypothetical scenario, their stupid mind just thinks, anyways, India is not going to use nuclear weapons first. Why not we first use against them and destroy them to the level that they don't even exist to retaliate back with a nuclear weapon? Yeah, I mean, their stupid mind can think that way. We have to prove them that we can still retaliate back with a nuclear weapon, right? But how? By launching a missile from the underwater. Underwater? How? By a nuclear-capable ballistic missile launched from a submarine. And that is the K-15 missile. Part of the K missile family. K. What does K indicate? Kalam. Dr. Kalam. The missile man of India. The man who pioneered the missile program in India. The K-15 is also called the Satirical missile, and it is designed mainly for retaliatory nuclear strike. And it's integrated with the INS Arihant submarine. With K-15, we complete the nuclear triad, which means we have become capable of launching nuclear-capable missiles from land, air, and underwater. But you did not tell about the range. I was about to. It's 750 kilometers less. I know, right? And that's why we've developed K4 with a 3,500 kilometer range, which currently is undergoing testing, and developing K5 with a 5,000 kilometer range. That's awesome. We can launch a missile from our submarines from underwater. But what if our submarines itself is attacked by another submarine inside the waters? Because I heard Chinese submarines roam around in the Indian Ocean at will. Oh yeah, have ignored that. No. An enemy submarine is as big a threat as an enemy warship. It needs to be destroyed in a serious combat. But it cannot be destroyed with a missile. But it can be destroyed with a torpedo. And that is through our own Astra, the Varunastra torpedo. And for Varunastra to destroy a submarine, it needs to be assisted by a missile. The missile is the one here that propels and powers the torpedo to its target. And what's a torpedo? It's an underwater weapon that can carry a warhead to destroy the submarine. And since the torpedo is assisted by missile, and that too a supersonic missile, so the anti-submarine system is called supersonic missile assisted release of torpedo. In short, let's make it simple. It's called the SMART system. Breathe for some time. Now I'll be telling something even more interesting. One challenge for missiles is evading detection from radars. It's so difficult to evade because you're flying so high in ballistic trajectories. Yeah. But what if you fly so low that detection itself becomes very challenging for the radar? And that too when you fly at such a low height of maybe about 5 kilometers. Wow, it would be really good We have missiles that can be launched from land, air, and water, and to a particular location on land, and also a flying aerial threat, but not to the waters. And what is the biggest threat in the water? A ship, a warship. It becomes very important to damage them severely in a real-time combat. Right? Of course, and hence was born the idea of one of the world's fastest and accurate cruise missiles, the BrahMos Maritime, alias BrahMos M, which flies at such very low sea skimming trajectory to evade detection. It's just unfair to just make such a deadly missile only for the Navy, right? So that's why we made a land attack variant for the army and an air launch variant for our air force. Sab barabar again. Whoa. But I heard the range is just 300 kilometers. Right. That is why we developed a 500 kilometer plus range. The BrahMos extended range. And it is this BrahMos that brought Pakistan to its knees, right? Indeed. But Pakistan should thank God that Operation Sindoor didn't happen 5 years later. Why? Because an even deadlier BrahMos 2 with a hypersonic speed of 7,000 kilometers per hour and with a longer range of 1,500 kilometers would have been developed. Oh my God. All okay with such deadly attack missiles. But our enemies with their air defenses have interceptors to down our missiles, right? How do our missiles escape that? By confusing their defenses. How? By performing loitering maneuvers. And for that only we have Nirbai with a 1,000 kilometer range flying at low altitudes. And BrahMos itself performs an S maneuver to escape interception. Okay, for cruise we have maneuverability. For ballistic, we have Pralay for that. High maneuverability with high precision range up to 500 kilometers. And along with Pralay, Nirbai and BrahMos, we have more MARV, maneuverable re-entry vehicle missiles with unpredictable flight paths that is being developed. Wow. Okay, we have surface to surface Prithvi missile, surface to air Akash missile, air to surface BrahMos missile. What about air to air? The Astra family, Astra MK1, MK2, MK3. Okay, we have missiles for aerial threats, water threats. What about the biggest land threat? Tanks. Anti-tank missile Nag, which can be launched on land. And also, since tank is a slow-moving vehicle, anti-tank missile can be launched from helicopter as well. We have Nag with both land and helicopter launched variants. Oh. And since Nag has a very short range of just 8 kilometers, again, what is the common thing? We always develop the sequel missiles with a bigger range and with a bigger payload capacity. And as usual, we developed Sankt, standby anti-tank missile with a 20 kilometer range and a much higher precision, where an enemy tank has no chance to escape. Have you played this Project IGI? The protagonist destroys the tank with a portable missile launcher he carries on his shoulder. Absolutely. ATGM man-portable anti-tank guided missile with a range of 2.5 kilometers. So this is all with our attack missiles, with our indigenous attack missiles. Overwhelmed by all the attack missiles we possess. But what if we are attacked with missiles, and that too multiple missiles at a single time? We intercept all of that with our Akash MK1. It can intercept not just missiles, but jets and drones too. What if it comes in different directions? It can still engage and down each one of them simultaneously, and that too from a single firing location. How? Using the Rajendra Phase Array Radar, it enables real-time tracking up to 64 targets and guides 12 missiles simultaneously. Oh, so it relies on an external radar to intercept, but won't there be a slight delay in the response? Like if the radar has to detect an enemy missile and then send this signal to Akash, there'll be some delay there, and by the time enemy missile would have hit the target, right? Absolutely. That is why we made Akash NG with an active radar frame. Means in Akash MK1, you saw the missile relying on an external radar to intercept the aerial flying threats. But Akash NG doesn't have to rely upon an external radar because it will itself be fitted with a radar. And as soon as the radar fitted in Akash NG detects an enemy projectile, no time delay, it will go and strike it off. What's the range, by the way? Akash MK1 is 25 to 45 kilometers. Akash Prime and Akash NG can intercept from 70 kilometer range. And at what altitude can it intercept enemy missile? From 20 kilometers, not beyond that. Probability of interception? 98%. My God. So when an enemy projectile enters the Indian airspace, before Akash, the Indo-Israeli jointly developed MR-SAM, LR-SAM, medium range, long range, surface to air missile will itself get there. Because it has even a higher range of 100 kilometers compared to Akash's 70. Altitude? It can down the enemy projectile from a height of 30 kilometers. But isn't it too risky and dangerous to intercept at such close ranges of 100 kilometers? Absolutely. Is it fine if you can intercept at 500, no, wait, 600 kilometers itself. Yes, a Russian imported S-400 can do that. And what if you are attacked with a ballistic missile like an Agni which re-enters from the outer atmosphere? The anti-ballistic Prithvi Air Defense (PAD) vehicle will intercept it when it's still in the outer atmosphere. If it's not intercepted in the outer atmosphere, our advanced air defense system will get it when it enters the atmosphere. I forgot to ask, for very, very, very short ranges like below 20 kilometers, the shorter the range, the quicker you need to react, right? So for that, we have Quick Reaction SAM, QRSAM. And for even shorter ranges, VSHORAD's very short range air defense system. So it's a multi-layered air defense system that can easily handle a two-front war, yes. Like how the Indian cricket team bats deep, the Indian air defense system defends deep. The probability of an enemy projectile to escape this multi-layered air defense system is very, 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 very low. But our enemies too can have such strong air defense systems, right? I know we have all that maneuvering, unpredictable flight paths, but still evading detection is important, right? Any radar emits radiation, and when the emitted radiation is reflected back, based on the reflected radiation, the radar detects the location and predicts the flight path of the incoming object, right? What if we use that very radiation to detect and destroy a radar? What? And that is exactly what our anti-radiation Rudram missile can do. It can completely neutralize the enemy's air defense. Amazing. But suppose you don't have time to first suppress the enemy air defense. You want to straight away launch a missile on a target. How would you bypass the radar without destroying it? Radar for 100% uses radiations to detect an object in the air. And that only if it's reflected back it can detect. What if it can absorb the radiation? Absorb? Yes, we are developing missiles and stealth aircrafts that are made up of specific materials that can absorb radiations. And even if it doesn't work, then electronic warfare only. We just go and jam the enemy radars. And that is what we did to Pakistan's China-made radars. Convinced. Not it. Wait, don't be. Wait. There's one thing you missed. What? What else is left? Land, water, air, everything is covered, right? There's one thing you missed. One thing I missed. Where are my fingers pointing? Space. A satellite could pose the biggest threat in the future warfare. I mean, what kind of a threat? An enemy satellite can give away sensitive geospatial information and data. Or maybe even intercept or jam our communications. And satellites possess high resolution cameras. They can give away images of our troop movements and weapon systems to the enemies. So that's why we needed an anti-satellite missile. In March 2019, we conducted a test if we could intercept a satellite in the low Earth orbit. And the test was successful. We became the only fourth country after US, Russia and China to have capability to intercept a satellite. Oh my god. All the Panchabhutas engaged. Land, air, water and space with fire. Yes. And possessing a wide range of missiles to launch at land, sea, air, underwater and space from land, sea, air and underwater at both a high ballistic trajectory as well as a low sea skimming trajectory, along with a multi-layered air defense system. We have become a part of an elite missile club comprising of the US, France, Russia and China. Almost the entire missile program is designed in anticipatory of a Chinese attack. But what's the use if they're as good as a missile power as us? If you look at history, strong powers, even though they don't like each other, try to avoid a direct conflict with each other as much as possible. The US and the Soviet were bitter rivals. They were always close to fighting a war, but never fought one directly. Why? Because there'll be severe losses on both the sides, despite one side ending up as a winner. So that is why it is important to be as good as them, and especially when it comes to missiles, the future of warfare. They have more money, and hence they can invest more and get more, but we have limitations. So our goal cannot be to overtake them, but just make sure you are prepared well enough to avert any kind of threat from them. So the missile development for a strong defense is all complete. No? Never. It is never complete. It is always an ongoing process. Because the enemies that pose a threat for you are developing their defense systems using newer technologies. So you can never sit and relax. Then are you investing in new technologies? Indeed, yes. China has already deployed hypersonic cruise missiles. And we had invested on it long back. BrahMos 2 will be ready soon. Why hypersonic? At hypersonic speed, which is at least 5 times faster than the speed of sound, that is 5,000 kilometers per hour, it becomes very difficult to detect and intercept a missile. And then you might have seen in Operation Sindoor how precisely we struck only the terrorist camps. How's that possible? Only with a good guidance system for the missile and by integrating AI. the guidance system becomes more accurate and the chances of missing the target drops down below 0.1%. That's the power of AI. And also, don't you think in defense, communication systems need to be very secure? You can't have your enemies hacking your communication systems and listening what you're doing, right? Yeah. So that is why we're developing quantum technologies to make our communication systems unhackable. Excellent. But the missile launch too needs to be quick, right? They use canisterized systems. They're all ready to fire missiles. And do the missiles work in any weather condition? All our missiles work well in severe cold, heat, rain, fog, and even storms. They have all other capability. Intercontinental missiles, an impenetrable multi-layered air defense, anti-submarine systems, missiles that have technology to escape detection as well as destroy detectors, ready to launch, and all-weather missiles. Is there even any challenge to the Indian missile program? Yes, there are. What? We face challenges in testing our long-range missiles. We still do not have proper infrastructural facilities due to geographical constraints. We have to rely on simulation. Geography constraint, huh? There's an entire land towards the northwest end. It's good for a joke, but in serious situation, it definitely is a challenge. And another thing, to get some vital electronic components that are crucial for a missile development, we are still dependent on other countries. And dependency is never sustainable in the long run. And bureaucratic delays and corruption. There is no escaping from that anytime soon. And apart from that, there is always a diplomatic pressure. If we were in the nuclear suppliers group, we would get access to a lot more dual-use technologies. But the red t-shirt Chinese, they're not allowing us. And there are so many restrictions to access the most advanced technologies. Crossing all these is a big challenge. And yet, we will sail through crossing all the hurdles, facing all the challenges like how we did before. The US, through the MTCR, disallowed us access to many missile technologies. It hurt our journey towards indigenization. But with the help of our academia and industry partners, we worked together to build so many made in India world-class missiles. Hurdles gave us tough times, but crossing them made us even stronger. But do you think you revealed something that shouldn't have been? It's available all in the internet. I just compiled everything and made it understandable for you to learn and enjoy. That's all.